Let's check in with my buddy, kinda, Ian.
Hello.
Hey, Ian, what's going on?
Not much. I'm just laying here. Are you podcasting?
I'm doing my best to record a cast, to pod a cast. It's almost like throwing a reel into the water, like a fishing rod reel. You don't throw the reel, you throw the line in, right? I haven't fished since I was 4 years old. I think I caught a flounder and felt sad.
So, yeah, there's nothing. I like the idea of fishing when it's sitting by the water drinking a beer. But that's about as far as I go. I'll hold the pole even.
Someone,
I just don't want to hook anything. I
some,
don't want to catch anything.
someone isolate that. Ian likes to hold the pole. Can we isolate?
No.
So you're gonna miss great topics like the Venom solo movie, which if I'm not tired, I will get to that seemingly disaster. But no, it'll probably be decent because of Tom Hardy. But anyway, we can talk about it right now. Ian, what do you think about there being a Venom solo movie that has no connection to the Marvel universe, the Marvel comics universe, movie universe?
I think the choice of actor is pretty solid, actually. But I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Venom, and I mean the fact that it has no connection to the MCU, puts it squarely back in the dregs of trash, like Fantastic Four, type movies and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Venom just seems so 90s to me, and
He's dark.
yeah, he's very 90s. I don't know, dark.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the deal. Remember back when we talked about before the great triumphant deal that Marvel did with Sony to bring Spider-Man into these movies, these MCU movies, that they had planned not just an Amazing Spider-Man 3, there was going to be a Sinister Six movie, a Spider-Gwen movie, they're going to do an Aunt May movie, and a Venom movie. They wanted to do a whole cinematic universe just around Spider-Man, which is one of the dumbest things I think you could do when it's like, oh, we have, like, a Sinister Six movie would have made $35 at the box office. No one would have seen that movie. And that was half of Amazing Spider-Man 2, was them showing at Oscorp, well, there's the Dr. Octopus arms and there's the Vulture wings, like it was ridiculous. Like they were trying to shoehorn in the fact that everything came from Oscorp, like most of the Sinister Six, and then of course Lizard did as well, in the first movie. So it was just insane. Oh yeah, and Rhino they're probably gonna throw in there because he was at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucked dick, I think is what it all comes down to. Anyway, how you feeling otherwise?
I feel like shit, but
Whoops.
I smoked the last of my Miracle Johnson, and I'll have a little bit more later. It's not really doing anything.
So just to recap, you like to hold pole and you smoke Johnson. Is that's
The Miracle Johnsons only.
Okay.
I do have to say, without spoilers, I had bought tickets in advance, like last Friday or something like that. Anyways, Vonnie and I had planned to go see Alien Covenant. I think we did it Sunday night. And without spoiling anything for you, because you haven't seen it, and maybe you won't, but it's really not a bad movie. I was surprised. It's actually quite decent.
I think all the reviews basically say, yeah, it's good, but we've seen this story like 5 times before. I mean, that's basically what I was saying. It's like, yeah, it's competently made, but it doesn't really go in a new direction with the franchise,
I would disagree in some areas. The first act is very much, we've been here before. The second act turns into almost like this goth fantasy movie for a small portion. It's very interesting, and Ridley Scott's directing is very good, and the end does a good sense of creating dread. Although I think it's telegraphed probably intentionally. Could set up though if it goes in the direction I think it's going. I think it sets up for a very I think the way it will finally connect itself to the mainstream Alien universe is interesting.
I'm just upset that this is all meant the death of Alien 5, because I was really looking forward to that, because that looked like it's going to be nuts, you know.
It did, and I was interested in it too. I wanted to see it, but I mean, you can be the fan that doesn't try the new thing at all and doesn't get to see any part of the universe, or you take a chance and see what it was, and it wasn't bad. I really wanted, obviously, I desperately wanted Alien 5, desperately, but there was no guarantee that that was going to be good either. I mean, you never know until you see it, obviously, but...
Well, it's always good to try to right the wrong of a previously bad decision, which in this case was both Alien 3 and Alien 4, which I saw in theaters. You know, it's like, well, let's give him a good send-off, get Michael Biehn back in there. He needs some work, right? And, you know, maybe get like a grown-up Newt in there. That could be an interesting story to tell, because she would be like in her, 30s. You know what I mean? Like, it's an interesting idea on paper.
It would have been an interesting way to continue the series, too. You could have passed the torch to Newt.
Sure.
The problem with, I think, the prequel Prometheus stuff is like I said, I have a feeling, and I'm hoping that what the end of Covenant is leading to is a very interesting part 3 that could, like I said, I'm not going to say much, but that could very much connect to Alien in a very interesting way, but it stops there. It's not going to progress things any.
So you see maybe one more movie in this trilogy, and that's it, and they're going to have to do something else with the Alien franchise.
There's only so much you can do with a prequel trilogy. You've got to stop it somewhere.
Sure. So maybe at that point, in a couple of years, they'll
do. It's right on the cover. It's right on the movie poster or the original teaser shot. The actual movie poster is really cool looking, but I mean, you see basically the full. I mean, there's a full xenomorph in the movie.
Sure. Well, yeah, it was in the trailer, so that's not a shock to anyone. There's a xenomorph at the end of Prometheus, basically a proto xenomorph, but one
yeah,
never.
No, you get a classic xenomorph in this movie.
I think it's always more exciting to have just the one they have to deal with versus shooting up a billion of them. You know, I love aliens. I mean, it's a totally different tone of the movie when you're so underpowered, and you have to deal with just one. It's more of a classic monster horror movie, that you have to deal with, versus shooting up like 50 of them because you have these awesome machine guns and flamethrowers. It's just a different sort of feel.
I think that's one of the most interesting things about this movie is, despite the fact that I don't like some of the CGI, is there's not a lot of quote-unquote monsters, but you do get to see a couple interesting interpretations briefly. So,
sure.